It's a pretty bad news day when it comes to energy prices. They're going through the roof, and the government is missing in action. But it's not all doom and gloom because some people are fighting back. The Good Law Project have announced they're planning to sue the energy regulator Ofgem over the price cap rise. And here's why. We think Ofgem can and should be doing more to protect people, especially the most vulnerable. Before raising the cap, we believe Ofgem is legally required to 1. Provide evidence it has carried out a proper impact assessment. 2. Consider appropriate mitigation measures for the most vulnerable, including a lower social tariff. In July, we wrote to Ofgem to express our concern about its decision-making. We asked it to provide proof of its impact assessments. It failed to produce any such evidence. Last week, we put the regulator on notice of formal legal action if it failed to uphold its duties. Today's announcement provides no indication that an impact assessment has been carried out. The core of the Good Law Project's case is that Ofgem haven't been properly meeting their duty to protect consumers from the impact of price rises, which includes disabled, elderly, and otherwise vulnerable consumers. And there is some good evidence in favour of their claim. Christine Farnish was a non-executive director of Ofgem for nearly 7 years until she resigned earlier this month. She explained to The Times why she quit. I resigned from the Ofgem board because I could not support a key decision to recover additional supply costs from consumer bills this winter. The Times had more on Farnish here. She said she believed that the move would add several £100s to everyone's bill in order to support a number of suppliers in the coming months. Farnish, a former chairwoman of Consumer Focus, acknowledged that decisions over the price cap were never easy, and that Ofgem had to weigh up a number of factors such as the sustainability of the market, the likelihood of supplier exits, and the costs associated with that, and the impact on consumer energy bills. But she said Ofgem's board was charged with an overarching legal duty to protect the interests of consumers. So, according to Farnish, Ofgem's decision is less about protecting customers and more about keeping the energy retail market lively. So, some people are pursuing a legal route against the cap rise, others are going in for a more direct action approach. Enough is Enough is a campaign group committed to fighting the cost of living crisis. It involves union leaders Mick Lynch, Dave Ward and Eddie Dempsey, as well as left Labour MPs like Zara Sultana and Ian Byrne. And now, Manchester Mayor and former Labour MP Andy Burnham appears to have come on side too. In response to the latest energy cap rise, Enough is Enough released this call to action on social media. It's just been confirmed. Energy bills will rise to £3,549 in October. This will be the biggest attack on living standards in decades. We're declaring a national day of action on October the 1st with protests across Britain. Join us. We say enough.co.uk. Enough is enough. Another campaign group fighting impossible energy bills is Don't Pay UK. They're asking people to pledge to stop paying their energy bills from the 1st of October. So far, 120,000 people have signed up. The image you're seeing here is from the demo outside Ofgem offices in London. The interesting thing about Don't Pay UK is you can tell their campaign will probably prove very effective. Why? Because it has the energy bosses shook. This is what Ofgem's CEO, Jonathan Brearley, said to Radio 4 earlier this month. I know everyone is extremely worried about paying their energy bill, but absolutely I would not encourage anyone to join a campaign like this for 2 reasons. First of all, it will drive up costs for everyone across the board. Secondly, if you're facing difficulty in paying your bill, the best thing you can do is get in touch with your energy company. I would not encourage anyone to withhold their paying their bill because that just damages things further and it will impact them personally. Sure, if there were just 10 or 1,000 of you refusing to pay, it might affect your credit rating and cause you some trouble and probably not achieve very much. But if there's 1 million of you? After all, polling suggests that as much as 25% of the public can't or won't pay their energy bills this winter. 1 million, after all, might just be the beginning. Harriet, does Jonathan Brearley have people's best interests at heart, or were you expecting him to say on Radio 4 that people should stop paying their bills?
In the words of Mick Lynch, how do you expect me to answer that question? Of course, I don't trust his motivations. These campaigns are proven to be incredibly powerful. In the beginning, you could see a lot of people on Twitter being really skeptical about don't pay in particular. Some of it was absurd, to be honest. But my attitude towards this and a lot of politics is increasingly screw it, why not? Like, Don't Pay is one of the only shows in town at the moment. I do kind of understand people's nervousness, though, around not paying bills, particularly if you've had a difficult relationship to debt in the past. If you spent your life surrounded by debt, you might be scared to take actions like these. So I do understand that nervousness. I called a family member earlier and asked them what they thought. And they said, why would I get myself into more debt and stress? Now, obviously, that's not a broader, longer strategic view, but when it comes to your own personalized debt, I understand the nervousness around it. In terms of enough is enough, fantastic. I signed up straight away, so did thousands of other people. And I think it's been a really good place for people on the left to put their energy since Labour Party Gate, which I'm now going to refer to it as, which was the whole debacle of the Labour Party. I'm a bit gutted because they've called this National Day of Action on the 1st of October, which is when I've organised an independence demonstration in Cardiff. So now we have a major clash. But personal issue, Aaron.
Do you view these kind of economic grievances? Obviously, this is just extraordinary, the energy bills one. But as somebody, you're Welsh, I think people watching this have probably noticed that. You're involved in the independence campaign. I mean, I wrote a piece on Welsh independence. I interviewed you. You were very useful and helpful, actually, when I came to see you guys in South Wales. How do you think these debates around the cost of living crisis, about energy, about clear misgovernment coming from Westminster, how does that impact the debate around independence? Do you get to say, well, look, your bills are up £5,000, but actually an independent Wales could do this, or a Wales with autonomy over energy policy could do this? Is that the kind of conversation you're beginning to have amongst the indie movement?
I love you for asking this. I was going to shoehorn this in somehow, but you've asked me anyway. So, well, do you know what? I was sat here the other day and I was thinking how amazing it would be for Wales to have a nationalised, Welsh-owned, renewable energy company. And I started looking into it, and it's actually in the cooperation agreement between Plaid Cymru and Labour at the moment. So there's work underway towards that. But today, Mark Drakeford tweeted saying something about how disgraceful this was, but how little power the Welsh government had to be able to intervene on this, which is like the cherry on the cake. Okay, I think Mark Drakeford's fantastic, a caveat, right? But okay, Mark Drakeford, you say this, but then you claim that we're better off in the union. It's the same with the NHS, which we can come to later, where continually the Welsh government doesn't have powers to be able to take the necessary and radical interventions that they want to, particularly Mark Drakeford as a left-winger, but yet is tied to a union that doesn't want that to happen. And of course, every time issues like this happens, support for independence skyrockets. We used to see that in the membership of Yes Cymru. Every time there was a big public scandal, the membership would literally shoot up and down. So yeah, almost certainly this is going to fuel that discussion, and bring it on. Let's have it.
Especially in the context of climate change, Scotland, Wales, lots of land, lots of agricultural land, lots of water, lots of renewable, capacity, potentially, whether that's wind, whether that's hydroelectric. England is going to be the net importer of food and of water and electricity. I think these really do underscore the arguments for independence, but that's a conversation for another day.